Extraordinary views, particularly when you bear in mind what is at stake. World leaders here are looking for hints of what President Trump is going to say here and what it means when he gives his speech tomorrow. The administration's rhetoric is trade-friendly. America first does not mean America alone, and they'll repeat that to you as often as you like. But the actions hint at protectionism, tariffs on imports, talking down the dollar. Gary Cohn is President Trump's top economic advisor and leads the National Economic Council. He joined me here, and I put it to him that nobody believes the president is about to deliver a non-protectionist message.
Well, they're going to get it tomorrow. When the president delivers his speech tomorrow, he's going to talk about the role that America plays in the world. And as America grows, the world grows, and it's good for the world to grow. We benefit when the rest of the world grows, and the rest of the world benefits when America grows.
And yet, as the president was speaking and signing his solar panels and washing machine tariffs, here, President Macron, Angela Merkel, President Temer, Theresa May have all put a more globalization message than the president.
And by the way, we're really excited to hear that, because we really believe in free, fair, open, and reciprocal trade. We would love the European Commission to drop their tariffs on many of the items that we would love to export from the United States. We've dropped our tariffs on most of the items, and we would have free, open, fair, and reciprocal trade. That's exactly what we're looking for in the United States. We're looking for a level playing field. We want to be part of a level global world.
You are taking level playing field as a very narrow definition, as there being a zero-sum game in terms of deficits versus surpluses.
I'm not taking it as a zero-sum game at all. I'm talking about it as a reciprocal world where we treat each other as countries equally. Right now, we're not in a fair level playing field. We're in a playing field where many, many countries charge tariffs for U.S. products, and we don't charge their product a tariff to come into the United States. So we put our workers at a disadvantage. We want to level the playing field to put our workers at a competitive equal level to workers around the world.
The perception is that that is protectionism.
No, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Our products are charged tariffs around the world today. Other people's products are not charged tariffs to come into the United States. That's the reality of what we have in the world today.
Let's take the example of the solar panels. You're as well as I am that previous cases of tariffs, steel in the 90s, vehicles, car tires, they always end up boomeranging and actually costing more jobs than the relatively small number of jobs that will be saved. And the same is being said true of solar panels. There's a huge solar panel installation business, just not manufacturing in the U.S.
Huge solar panel installation business in the United States. 350,000 solar panel installers in the United States. Very important business in the United States. Unfortunately, there's no cell manufacturers left in the United States, and therefore, we're allowing the cells to come into the United States at a much larger quantity than they come in today. So there's absolutely no tariffs on cells coming into the United States, and they can come in larger quantities than they're coming in today. We do have panel manufacturers in the United States, people that put the cells into frames. We are giving those panel manufacturers some protection to build the panels in the United States. And because we want to create jobs in the United States. In the washing machine area, look, we've actually achieved exactly what we want to achieve. The two big foreign manufacturers of washing machines have agreed to open up factories in the United States. They're going to hire 1,600 workers in the United States because guess what? We're a very competitive place to work right now in the United States.
Are these policies, though, exactly the sort of policies you would have been against in your previous life?
We're in this policy because we've had product dumped into the United States because businesses have been artificially subsidized. They are producing products way below cost of production. You cannot produce these products at these levels. That is unfair trade practice.
Let's move on. Were you surprised when the Treasury Secretary, he didn't suggest, he said a weak dollar was good for the United States? And you know, sir, the rubric is always the same. A strong dollar is in the best interests of the United States. You've heard it a million times.
In long term, a strong dollar is in the best interest of the United States.
But at the moment, there's a good 13 to 15% weakening of the dollar, and the perception is you'd like it lower.
In the long term, a strong dollar is in the best interest of the United States, but we do believe in free and open markets. And right now, in the short term, as it always does, the market sets the value of the dollar. So the market is setting the value of the dollar. We are the reserve currency of the world. We're going to maintain our status as the reserve currency in the world. And long term, we have to have a strong dollar to do that.
So to be absolutely clear, there's no change in policy, whether or not the Secretary may have been misunderstood or contextualized.
Long term, we have to have a strong dollar to be the reserve currency of the world.
Tax cuts. So
Yes,
within
sir.
the next few weeks, they will, with the benefits for many will be arrived. Not for me, I live in New York.
Well, the benefits have already started arriving for many others. We have 240 companies in America. Over millions of workers are already starting to get the benefits of higher wages. We've had people have their wages raised. We've had people given bonuses already by companies. So companies are already giving out some of the tax savings. Yes, the withholding tax charts come out in February, so you'll have less withholding taxes from your paycheck in many areas of the world. You'll continue to see benefits through the whole year, and you'll see a lot more benefits next April when you file your taxes.
Now, when people make this argument that it's a longer-term benefit for corporations versus a relatively short-term benefit for ordinary people, I can see you're smiling. You've heard this argument.
Yeah, there's no argument I haven't heard.
No, there's no argument you haven't heard. But it still persists, the perception that this is a boondoggle for corporations versus, say, ordinary people.
Well, we continue to be perplexed why the Democrats wouldn't vote to make the personal income tax cuts permanent for citizens. We're perplexed by that. We would have loved the Democrats to vote with us and make the personal income tax cuts permanent. But they didn't. We couldn't make them permanent. We're going to make them permanent eventually. We hope we can do that. We were able to make the corporate cuts permanent, and that's why people say that. But overall, as we grow the economy, and we're going to continue to grow the economy, we've had 2 quarters in a row of over 3% growth. We get GDP tomorrow. We hope.
Come on, you know what it is.
I might and I might not. We hope to get it. We hope to get another good quarter over 3%. As we continue to grow the economy, we'll have a bigger base to tax. As we can tax more and the revenue continues to grow, growth, we'll hopefully be able to make the personal income tax permanent forever. That's our objective. It was always our objective to give the individuals a tax cut forever as well.
On this stage 2 years ago, on this set, you said tax cuts and tax reform was something you wanted to see.
I did.
So now tell me, what's the next thing you want to see?
There's many things I want to see. The next thing I want to see in the United States, as the president and we are working on, is infrastructure. We have to rebuild our crumbling, outdated infrastructure in the United States.
Will you be around for the rest of the year and beyond to see that through?
I have been unbelievably lucky to be part of President Trump's economic team, to be able to drive taxes and tax reform, to be able to work on the regulatory reform, to be able to work on infrastructure reform. I'm very excited to have the job I have. I'm very lucky, and I'm very excited to be working on infrastructure reform.
And I am trying to sift through that answer.
That was a great answer.
It was.
That was a great answer.
It told me absolutely nothing about whether you're still going to be in the White House, in the government, by the end of the year.
I told you we're working on infrastructure. We're going to talk about it in the State of the Union. We're going to announce our plans in early February. We've got a very detailed plan on how we're going to drive over $1.5 trillion of infrastructure, how we're going to shorten the approval process from 10 years to 2 years. We've got a lot of work to do here. I'm very excited about the work that we have.
We're not going to get into the minutiae of Russia, etc., but I do want to know, the Russia investigation, the serious Russian investigation, is it paralyzing large parts of the White House in the way in which so much energy and effort is being taken in dealing with the Mueller investigation, whether, which, what, and how?
You answer that. Did we not just get tax reform done, something that hasn't been done in 31 years, that everyone at the beginning of the administration, day one, before there was a Russian investigation, would have bet everything against that we could have possibly got done? Have we not cut out hundreds of regulations that were really hindering businesses from growing? Have we not got more court people appointed? Have we not got more judges appointed? Did we not get a Supreme Court justice appointed? You tell me. It doesn't seem like it's hindering things to me. Like, people in Congress can't wait to see our infrastructure agenda. I rolled it out. I've been rolling it out to different members of Congress, both on the Democrat and the Republican side. They're all excited to see it. It seems to me like we're getting our agenda done.
What color?
Well, red is unacceptable in the world. Okay, so that's out. So we'll go with green.
Go green?
Go green.
With your environmental policies, that's going
Go
to the
green.
wall.
Go green.
Let's go over to the wall.
Okay, what are we going for the wall for?
WEF says it's a shared future in a fractured world.
Shared future in a fractured world. Okay.
That's no fracture at all.
Okay.
We're very fractured, with the arrow going in different directions. That's Microsoft. People saying on this side, where would you go? How fractured do you see?
So obviously you can.
That's the middle point, by the way. That's the middle point.
If you say so. Obviously, you can talk about this in a variety of different contexts.
Absolutely.
In context.
You define it.
So when I talk about it in the economic terms of the United States and where we are in the globalized world, I think we're in a pretty fractured world. People talk a good game. They talk a good game about this globalized world and wanting to be one world and wanting to trade with each other and wanting to be in a shared economy, but everyone's putting up barriers. They're subsidizing workers. They're putting up trade barriers. I would say we're sort of somewhere in, well, you need a good
Wherever
spot.
you like.
It's too green down there. Let's go here.
A fractured.
But hopefully we're moving this way, right?